Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're talking Love and Marriage Huntsville. You guys know why you are here. Today we are back because Carlos King wanted to grace us with his presence, wanted to give the people some content, and wanted to talk Love and Marriage Huntsville. So first and foremost, you guys, Carlos King was back for his Messy Mondays. As you know, anytime a Bravo show returns, such as a Real Housewives of Potomac, we should have known that Carlos King was going to click the button and go live. And then from what it seems, he actually was live. It wasn't pre-recorded this time like it usually is when discussing Love and Marriage Huntsville. So shout out to Carlos King for that. There's a couple of things I want to address in this video that Carlos King said as it pertains to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Carlos King had reiterated a few times that there's going to be allegedly an announcement regarding Love and Marriage Huntsville this week. It sounded like it was positive. It sounded like it possibly could be a renewal. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked because out of all of the Love and Marriage franchises, it's still, even with the blackout and the low ratings, it's still the highest rated of them all. And then he said he has some other announcements and some other surprises. He also wanted to say as well that, he does not control the scheduling and he does not control when the show takes breaks and doesn't control, when, we'll get a few episodes here of Huntsville and then it'll be off for 3 weeks and then it'll come back and then it'll be off again for another couple of weeks and all these things. And Carlos King says he does not have that much power and all of the things of that, right? And, but basically wanted to confirm that the show was coming back, that the show, as of now, is not canceled, right? As some people were trying to put out there with some quote-unquote exclusive tea. So nonetheless, that was that. So let's get into this. So there were a couple of questions that were asked to Carlos King, one in the form of a super chat that you see here on your screens. And the question was, what is, the relationship? Are you and Mel good? Are you and Melody Cherie Rogers good from Love and Marriage Huntsville? And so Carlos King was basically like, well, why wouldn't we be good, right? Why wouldn't we be good? He said that he's good with Melody Cherie Rogers, said her full name, didn't say Holt no more, said that he sees things that floats around YouTube, sees things that are being said. He tries not to feed into it. He's tries to reiterate once again that he loves Melody Cherie down and that he hasn't said anything bad. He swears up and down that Melody Cherie Rogers is his girl. Carlos King swears up and down that Melody Cherie Rogers is a star. Carlos King swears up and down that Melody Cherie Rogers is Huntsville. And Carlos King swears up and down that, Mel has said and proved, has proved multiple times that she is the queen of the castle. She is the queen of Love and Marriage Huntsville, you guys. And so, nonetheless, and then he went into right after that as to why he had not been doing interviews for a while, and that something caused him to be empty and sat in front with a microphone for a half hour and had nothing to give the people. And then briefly started crying, but then quickly drank something, tightened it up, wiped away the tears, and kept pushing. And so then later on in the video, there was some tea that was spilled about an incident, and basically Carlos King wanted this out there on purpose, but didn't want to say the name, which is what we would like to call a subliminal, right? Which we would like to call subliminal, which we would like to call kind of in a way of some slick shade, because you purposefully wanted this out there either to have people guess and out the reality star, or have people guess so that you can find this as another reason to shade a particular fan base. So we're going to get into it, right? So Carlos King was like, listen, I've got some tea. I saw somebody the other day, as in Sunday night, and he said that the person that he saw had allegedly said some things about him. And, Carlos King is saying because God has blessed him and has blessed him with all of these things, he saw this person. He specifically is shouting out the blogs, shouting out the YouTubers, wanted to reiterate that he loves the blogs and loves the YouTubers, whether the YouTubers love him or hate him. But basically said that he saw this person, wouldn't say who it was. He said that he stared at this person for a little bit. And then they saw him, he was like kind of giving them the look, the little stare down, but then was trying to be friendly, was trying to do like waving emojis at them. And so then he said, since he's from Detroit, since he's from the Midwest, he's going to confront the situation head on. He's not scared of nobody. He is going to try to get to the bottom of whatever needs to get to the bottom of it, right? And so he goes up to the person and he's like, what's up? He was like, I called you. You sent me something. Let's talk about it. And so basically, said that he's all about the truth, doesn't like any lying and this and that. And so he said that the person said that, quote, a lot of people are sending me things to me that you were talking ish about me and I ran with it. And then when I watched your episode, I saw you didn't really read me. You were Carlos. You gave me a compliment. I was misled by fans on YouTube. And Carlos King said that, a lot of people on YouTube try to misinterpret what him and Dr. Heavenly said and all these things. And then he alleged that the star then said as well that, that person's friend said that if you, blasted them publicly, that you should apologize publicly. And so basically, they looked each other in the eye, gave each other the stare down, and Carlos basically was like, you don't got nothing to worry about, you don't got nothing to be sorry about. Carlos King understand how the game goes, and basically was saying as well, Carlos said, this is why I called you in the first place, because he was trying to get to the T. And Carlos King, again, is trying to reiterate and double down that he's got integrity. And he said he's not going to say that person's name. People were speculating if it was Mel. People were speculating if it was Phaedra in the comments. Those were the popular choices in the chat. And Carlos King said that this is this person's story to tell, that they don't need any approval. As far as he's concerned, he doesn't need the audience approval for anything. He said essentially, for him, he understands that there's a love-hate relationship with him. And he said, but for him, he's not going to say their name. He said that's their business, if they're going to talk about it and expose it or not. But he said essentially that they're cool with whatever they're going to do. But he also, understands as well. He said that they had a great conversation, that they laughed and they joked and all those things. And then he said, and then also he claimed that he has the purest of tensions. He claims that only 10 people don't like him, you guys. And then also wanted to relay this to a Marlo Hampton story by saying that something similar happened with Marlo Hampton when he was doing an interview with her and recapping Bold and Bougie from Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that she said that people would send her DMs that Carlos was allegedly talking bleep about her and that she didn't fall for it and all of the things. So basically, Carlos King wanted this out there. He wanted the blogs, he wanted the YouTubers to talk about this because he wanted to have the people speculate on whether or not this was about Mel and if this was about the Mel supporters and the millimeters, quote unquote, taking it and running with it. However, I'm not sure whether or not this is about Mel. I'm going to have to take a wait and see approach, because I'm going to have to do some investigating on my own and see where everyone's at, see where everyone's up to. Because if you recently saw somebody, would that indicate that everybody right now is in Los Angeles and prepping to film the reunion this week? I need to figure out where everybody is. Or are you in LA and we know that Phaedra is on Dancing with the Stars, and Phaedra, also a Scorpio, just like Mel is a Scorpio, basically has not acknowledged Carlos King, has not acknowledged his existence, and has not done an interview with him at all, because obviously if the rumors as to why Phaedra was let go from Real Housewives of Atlanta, people point the finger and the correlation in regards to Carlos and her. So it'll be very interesting. There's a couple of good arguments as to why it could be either party. However, I could argue at this juncture, I would say that Mel has the larger fan base. Right? That Mel has the larger fan base and has made the most noise on YouTube. And there would be a reason that Carlos King would specifically want that out there, because there had been several times that Carlos King had been called out in regards of his recaps with Dr. Heavenly in regards to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, is it possible it could be another cast member, right? Could it be Dr. Shanita Foster? I don't know if I don't know if that really is moving the needle, you guys. It would have to be a big name star. It would have to be a big name star that is the anchor, is the main person of the show. So that would bring me back to Mel, right? Or Phaedra, right? So what do I think about this, right? What do I think about this? Well, for one, Carlos King always says that him and Mel are good, right? I mean, he's not going to ever not say that they're not good, right? He understands the impact that Mel and her fan base has on the show. What I find interesting, though, is that he won't speak on the disaster of trying to have the show focus on having the Melimeters and Mel supporters be a storyline to be dragged this season, which tuned out the audience, you guys. And then once again, I didn't hear anything in regards to, what's going on with this Martell stuff and the Martell cases that you continue to have on the show and uplift and continue to employ as a cast member when he's already getting a producer check like Mel, so we don't need to technically see him, right? So, for me, here's the thing, right? He claims that people are purposefully pinning Carlos King against certain people for money and clicks and views. And it's like, no. And this is the part I don't like, right? I don't like invoking God into these conversations to try to justify your messiness and try to make it seem like you're completely innocent and you've never said anything that was messy or shady or derogatory about anybody. You've never given any facial expressions that were sus when Dr. Heavenly was giving commentary on specific questions you would lay up about Love and Marriage Huntsville. And nonetheless, you're kind of making it seem as though, everybody's all good, everybody's on the up and up, and all this and that. But yet, I don't know. It's just very weird. It's very odd behavior, right? And again, are we going to not act like Carlos King has not been shady, has not been messy at all, as it pertains to Love and Marriage Huntsville, as it pertains to slick shade at Mel, and, basically feeding Dr. Heavenly to go on these rampages about, the cast doesn't like Mel should get her own spin-off show, and all this and that, and, really make it a point to be the voice of, basically trying to down Mel and make it seem like Mel's responsible for all of the issues that are taking place on the show. But now all of a sudden, she's the queen of Huntsville. We can't do the show without her, and all of these things, you guys. So I am trying to figure out, what is the play here? What is the angle? Or is everything good with Mel because the show got renewed, right? So therefore, there's no need to drag Mel or throw shade at her if the show is going to come back for another season. Because you would need Mel in one way or the other to anchor a lot of the storylines and things that are taking place on the show, right? So everything would be good if the show continues on, right? But if the show doesn't continue, that would be a reason to, again, throw some subliminals. But clearly, you wanted this out there. You knew YouTubers were going to discuss this, Carlos, because you knew that you were getting dragged by a lot of people who watch Love and Marriage Huntsville because people felt that you were not being authentic in regards of the commentary with Mel, and that you were purposefully setting it up, like I said, to have the leading questions go to Dr. Heavenly as it pertained to Mel, as it pertained to Mel supporters and the Melometer, so that you could, have your hands clean. But at the same token, you were giving messy looks, you were giving dirty looks, you were giving looks that indicated that you did not see it for Mel, that you didn't mess with Mel. So it's not like people are just quote unquote making things up or just trying to say anything for clicks and views. Just like this video, I'm doing this video in which you were saying verbatim complimentary things about Mel. So if you're saying complimentary things or you're shading her, regardless, I'm going to do a video on it, right? So it's not this thing where, we have to keep the conflict going to get people to get clicks and views on their videos. No. If we had a good storyline on the show, if we had everybody getting along on the show, if we didn't have all this BS that was taking place and everybody getting arrested and everybody getting sued and it's nowhere to be found on the show, and you have Martell dressed in a white suit looking like an angel, that is the problem. That is why, we are dragging certain aspects that are taking place, because it's tomfoolery. It's playing in the face of the fans. It is playing in the face of the viewing audience, and you were insulting the viewing audience into making people look like they were crazy. As if we were supposed to pretend that Martell is this good, upstanding guy. You literally set up your Messy Mondays to present Martell as the bachelor, as this good man who was misunderstood, and all of these things, and trying to prop him up as if he isn't actively trying to terrorize his ex-wife, which brings me back to the original podcast episode back in January, where Mel voiced her concerns to you about Martell, wanted Martell fired from the show, was feeling as though you knew all of the things that were taking place behind the scenes of how much Martell was terrorizing her, to the point she had to get extra security for 24/7 because he's unhinged and out of order, and even said to the audience she wanted him gone, she wanted him fired from the show, and you said and did nothing. And she was emotional and all these things, and you said and did nothing. In fact, you decided to bring out Sonny and Moses to pivot the conversation and try to deflect and say, I'm not as involved in the show anymore. Somebody else that's involved. What? You're not involved, but you're the king of reality TV. Please miss me with that, Carlos. You're involved in something. You know something. You're aware enough, and this is the other thing. You always say you don't know what people say about you. You always say you don't know what people say about you. You don't read the comments. You don't read the tweets, but you're very well versed in the Love and Marriage Huntsville streets on who is and isn't talking about you. You're very well versed on who is and isn't dragging you, Carlos. So I find it very convenient that you seem to know if and when your name is being dragged through the mud, but depending on the interview, depending on the podcast, you're clueless, right? But then if you want to use it as a dig to the YouTubers and the bloggers and the quote-unquote haters, now all of a sudden you are a wealth of information, Carlos. And this is what I can't do. I can't do the flippity-flop, the back and the forth, and the two-facedness, and then we're supposed to all just pretend that everything's all rainbows and flowers. It's all sunny outside, it is all pretty outside, and we're just going to ignore all of the shade, all of the subliminals, and all of the things, you guys. Can you make it make sense on what the point of that was? Because, again, it would have started off, like I said, as if you were all cool with Mel, but then towards the end, you specifically want this out there, and nothing has been bigger than people dragging you for the Love and Marriage Huntsville Messy Mondays episodes in particular, for people to put two and two together. But like I said, I'm going to wait and see if this week people are going to be out in LA and are going to be filming the reunion this week. And we're going to circle back on this conversation, Carlos. Oh, don't think that you're off the hook at all, because we're going to circle back and we're going to have official confirmation on who exactly this was about. So there is that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.